Hi everyone, I'm Jennifer. This is A Country Life. Welcome. I'm so glad to have you here today. We are going to start in on cooking. So I do a lot of cooking here on my channel and in my kitchen. This video is going to, I guess, highlight a lot of new recipes. If you saw my last grocery haul, I mentioned that a friend of mine, we have been doing like a recipe or a cookbook exchange. So when we happen to drop our girls off at each other's houses, we just swap a cookbook, and it has been very fun. She most recently gave me this cookbook right here. It's a 4-H cookbook, which means it's going to have all kinds of good recipes. I just know it. I've been going through it. I don't think, have I made something from here yet? I can't remember if I've actually made anything yet from here, but I do have a whole list of the, like a meal plan, a menu plan for the next coming like 10 days or something. And I have all kinds of recipes earmarked, but we're not going to get on with one of those here. I really wanted to do, make some kind of dessert here today. And I found this recipe for chocolate chip bars. This is not your regular, just make chocolate chip cookie dough and put it into a pan. This is a little different. Look at that, it just preheated. So this is a crust made of butter, powdered sugar, and flour. Anything that starts with one of these like little shortbread crusts I know is going to be delicious. All right, so we're going to put that in, and this has to bake for 12 minutes. And now I'm just using the same bowl here, and I'm getting the filling ready to go. So into here I have 2 eggs. I'm going to get those mixed up. I am making some, it's a new recipe. It's chocolate chip bars. So,
But so making something from scratch means you can use a recipe?
Of course. It just means that you're using all ingredients and not, you know, that's what making something from scratch means.
I always thought it meant like no recipe.
Oh,
Put all stuff together, like made from scratch.
No. 1 cup brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of flour, a half a teaspoon of baking powder, a half a teaspoon of salt, a half teaspoon of vanilla, and then 1 cup of chocolate chips, but I'm going to get this mixed first. So this just kind of makes like a drippy, sugary, eggy mixture. I'm going to get the chocolate chips in, and then I'm going to get that stirred up. And when the crust comes out, we'll put this on top of the crust and then bake it for another 20 minutes. For tonight's supper, we are going to be making the crispy herb baked chicken. I'm not really sure why it's called herb baked, because the recipe is potato flakes, Parmesan cheese, and garlic salt. Now I actually have, this is called a salt pepper garlic mixture, so that's what I'm using. I'm going to get this all mixed up. First though, we need to tend to the bars here. They were in for 12. I put them in for another 2 minutes just because I wanted the edge to be just a little bit golden. And then this is my mixture here. I'm going to pour this over. Put it back into the oven for 20 minutes. All right, I have my little system set up here, and I am kind of flattening the chicken breast a little bit, just because you know how there's like the one side that's higher and then it kind of goes down to that little like point. I wanted it to be a little bit more even. So here we go. We just dip it in the butter, flip it over, and then dip it into the potato mixture, turn it over, give it just a little shake. Once it bakes and you get the butter and the salt and stuff.
I like Parmesan cheese, but not that Parmesan cheese though.
I broke the first rule of thumb when trying out a new recipe, and that is whatever the time is that it gives, always go less because every oven is different. This is extremely dark. I'm not sure. I don't think it's burnt,
Looks nummy.
You think it looks good?
Looks extremely nummy.
It smells very good.
Now.
It's very hot, and this is the kind of thing that's going to be best if it cools 100%, Maria. So it's going to be a long time before you can have one of these bars. Actually, I think it's going to be best if it's even in the refrigerator for a while. Now I have to heat my oven to 375 degrees, and then these need to go in for 45 to 60 minutes. Chicken was in for just over 50 minutes. It was probably about, actually it was probably about 55 minutes. I just checked the temperature. I also cut into one. I made just a box mix of rice, actually 2 of them. And then also we're having some cottage cheese. And so far the verdict on these bars, I thought we were going to have to wait for a long time for them to cool. They cooled quickly.
They're really good.
You really like them? Dad actually had a little piece just a bit ago, and he was like, wow, those are really good.
Maybe a little more than a little.
I cannot confirm nor deny who ate all of the little pieces.
Is this the veggie
This is the
one?
chicken and veggie. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was there chicken in here?
To go with the herb.
There's chicken in here, Mom?
No, it's just chicken seasoning.
You should have done the herb one to go with the herb chicken.
You know? Huh? Joe, are you starting with dessert too?
And ending with dessert.
Everybody's starting with dessert, it looks like. Today's Friday lunch is going to be grilled cheese, tomato soup, and I do have some leftover rice, seasoned rice from last night's supper. The chicken last night, that was dry. It was a bummer. I think what would have been helpful, I thought the flavor was good, but it was dry. And I did not bake it. I made sure it just baked to a couple degrees under temp, and then I brought it out and let it rest until it came up to temperature. But I think what would have been better with that chicken is if each piece would have had a pat of butter on top of it as it was cooking down. I think that really would have added to the moisture. Or maybe even some chicken stock, like put it in more of a cake pan instead of on a cookie sheet. Put the pieces a little bit closer together with a little bit of chicken stock around it so that it kind of had like some moisture it could absorb. Anyway, we ate it. There's some leftovers. I'm going to make it with a chicken gravy when we eat the leftovers, which will probably be tomorrow. I'm thinking we'll have those leftovers. Today I'm hurrying up with lunch here. I came in a little bit early. All 6 of us at home are out laying out pipe. So with the cranberry farm, in the spring, all the pipe has to be put back out into the beds, the cranberry beds. And it's a big job. I started at 9:15, quit at 11:30, and these muscles right here, they're just like shaking, just shaking right now, even just buttering bread. Oh goodness. We are helping Warren. It is not always that we do this. It's actually getting easier for me. And look at the hairstyle. Look at this. I needed to wear a hat because it was cold. Then I got hot, but then all my hair was falling out of the braids, so I just had to like do something to get it out of my face because style was the least important thing when I was out there. I was just like, I cannot take my hair sticking to my eyelashes any longer. So anyway, yeah, so the pipe has to get put out. What was I just saying? For many, 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 many years, it's just Warren all by himself doing all of it. He's getting older. I mean, that's just a fact of life, and it is hard work. So this morning, I just announced to everybody at 9:15, you better be ready. And we're all going down there, and we're all helping, and it actually is going really, really well. It is the most glorious day. Right now, it's 50 degrees, light breeze. It's just glorious. The most perfect weather ever for laying out pipe. I better stop yapping to you guys and get these grilled cheese going. Whoa, turn down the heat. There we go. Get the grilled cheese going because they're going to come in and they're going to be hungry. I also told them I would make Kool-Aid, so they're excited about that. I realize I still have this goofy hairstyle going on, but the afternoon has just kind of been full. I was making the plans for April, which it's already April 4th, but making the kids' April plans for school. Peter has his own project going. In his science book, it had him making ice cream. Oh, wow. That seemed like it turned out really well. Just take a little spoon of it. I would spoon it right out of there. Can I have this first
Yeah.
bite?
Tell me how it is. Is it?
It is so creamy. Peter, that is the best ice cream I think I've ever had. That is amazing. When I was making the bars yesterday, which those bars went over so well, when I pulled them out of the oven and I was like, oh, I should have really watched more carefully. Everybody loved those bars. Warren thought they were delicious. Sam actually finally got one today at lunch and he was like, whoa, 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 why is there only a couple of them left here? He's like, this is the first one I even got. But he loved it. He's like, am I getting caramel or what is that flavor? They loved those bars. I'm going to put that recipe in the description box below, and I'm going to make it again and just bake it for a little bit less time just to see if it can even be better, because I personally thought they were good, not as awesome as my family thought they were. That's definitely one that's going to go into the next cookbook. It is not often that I find a cookbook with recipes that just seem new, especially for like bars. You know, most of them, you read them, you're like, oh yeah, I have a recipe like that, or one so similar to it, or, you know, that kind of thing. But this cookbook has so many recipes that just seem different. So what I have going here is a cup of butterscotch chocolate chips, or butterscotch chips, with 1 stick of butter. And I'm just getting that melted here. It has to melt completely. I'm going to cut my butter into smaller chunks here after I quit talking with you guys, but that's going to help it melt faster. And then I have to let this cool for 10 minutes. I will come back and I will share with you the remaining ingredients and the process to make what is called marshmallow brownies. Did I tell you that already? These are called marshmallow brownies. This is a brand new thing. I've never done this before for any recipe ever. Melt butterscotch chips and butter together. Really looking forward to trying this. Okay, next up is 2 eggs, and our chickens are laying so many eggs right now. It is such a treat to have these longer days and to have the chickens actually laying. 2/3 cup brown sugar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Oh boy, it's time to order some more vanilla. One of my subscriber friends first sent me this vanilla as a gift, and now I have been ordering it through Amazon. I believe you can buy this in store at Costco, and possibly they may have it at Sam's Club, I'm not sure. Okay, let's get this drizzling in slowly. And then 1.5 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder. I'm just going to sprinkle it over the flour, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So this is basically setting up like the recipe yesterday.
What are you making?
I am making another new recipe called marshmallow brownies.
New recipes.
Yep. So this is supposed to have 2 cups of chocolate chips. But one thing that I have found is that with the mini chocolate chips, you can get away with less chocolate chips because they spread out more throughout the batter. And I found that if I actually put in the whole amount of mini chocolate chips, sometimes it seems like too much. Yeah, because you don't really get a break between the chocolate chip and the dough. You know what I'm saying?
Shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me. Shake it for me.
And it's 2 cups of chocolate, or of marshmallows. We're gonna mix that gently.
Merciful. This is another.
These are going in at 325 degrees for 25 to 30 minutes, but I'm going to set my timer for 20 minutes today just to be on the safe side. The bars have come out of the oven. They were in for about 22 minutes. Now this 9x13 pan is just a smidge bigger than a 9x13, and I think that's why I always have to remember to put things in a little bit less time. It said you were supposed to test with a toothpick. Every time I stuck it in, all I was getting was chocolate. So it appeared to me that these would be done. The edges are just pulling apart. The marshmallows have like browned, and it looked done to me. So we're gonna let these cool. These are definitely something that are gonna have to cool. Now I'm working on supper. I have some mashed potatoes left over from the other night. I'm doing fried mashed potatoes. And then I'm warming up some oil over here because I'm gonna be doing fish. So I have my saltines. I need to make a better system over here though. I don't really have things set up very well yet. 1 egg. Will break, huh? There we go. And a little bit of milk. That should be pretty good. There's really no amounts. I just wing it. These are crushed saltines. I actually like it with a little extra salt. And we're going to do a little pepper too. Joe, please set the table.
Since I'm in the
So
kitchen
I
today,
rinsed all of my fish. This is all fish caught like right here at on our property. And I rinsed it all. And I'm just kind of making sure it gets well coated with the egg milk mixture. And then Maria is going to, this is really hot here though, so how are we going to do this, honey? I'm going to have to move over here, I think. Okay, just don't burn your arm on that. So what you're going to do is you're going to put a piece of fish in here. Actually, you're going to put a number of pieces of fish in here.
like 3.
Oh, you could put 5 or 6. Okay.
I see.
Let me just put 1 in and make sure. Nope, it's not hot enough. Okay, let's make sure it gets hotter. So we're going to have to just wait.
Okay.
We've got the fried mash going over here, and now some green beans.
It's our first fish lunch.
It is. There's how the fish ended up turning out. I think it would be perfect fish for fish tacos because it's kind of very tender and it's kind of falling apart. But anyway, we have green beans and the fried mashed, and then I made some tartar sauce. We cut the bars, haven't tried them yet. They seem still very, very warm, so we'll
They
see.
smell and look amazing.
I am back at it today making more bars. Peter has to work a pancake breakfast tomorrow, and I just found out today that we need to take bars or cookies along because then they put plates of assorted treats on the tables. All right, let me give you a rundown though of the bars from last night that I made. These are the ones called Marshmallow brownies. I really think that these taste just like my chocolate chip blondie bars with walnuts. And so I probably would not make these again simply because of all of the steps and all of the ingredients. And I don't think it really adds really much of anything to the bars as far as, you know, melting the butterscotch chips and then melting it with the butter. There's a kettle that you dirty, and then the marshmallows is just another added ingredient, so it's an added expense that I really don't feel like it really adds much to the bars at all. They're very good. Obviously, we are eating them. Very good. I just don't think that would be something that I would make again. Here's what I have going for the bars for tomorrow for the pancake breakfast. I'm going to make from my cookbook cranberry apple spice bars. This is cookbook number 1, page 45. Once that focuses, there you go. You can screenshot this recipe or you can purchase my cookbooks. Either way, I don't mind at all. But this starts with 1 stick, a half a cup of butter melted, a cup of white sugar, a cup of brown sugar, 2 eggs, a half a cup of sour cream. I'm going to be putting in 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Is it 1 or 2 cups? 2 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons baking powder, salt, half a teaspoon salt, half a teaspoon cinnamon, a half a cup of wheat germ. I'm going to chop up this apple. I may actually need a second apple, and then cranberries, 1 cup, and also walnuts. And I'm just going to get that all mixed and put into my large, I think I put this in my jelly roll pan. Yes, and I put this into my 10 by 15 jelly roll. I know that I've mentioned it before that if you are baking with frozen cranberries, it is going to make your dough a little bit stiff when you put those in. So just spread it the best you can, and when you put it into the oven and it gets hot again, it will self-level itself out. Now on top of these, we're going to sprinkle some cinnamon sugar. You want it to have a little color. It just adds really pretty color to the top of the bars. All right, that's it. In the oven for, let me check, 30 to 45 minutes, which I know is a really long time frame, but it's because everybody's 10 by 15 seems to be a little bit different. And if you put it in glass versus a light aluminum pan or a dark metal pan, it just, it changes it up for sure. So I'm going to set mine to 30, and I'll be back. Now for supper tonight, remember the chicken I made the other night and I said it was definitely dry? Had good flavor, but I just thought it was dry, and I've been really finding that with chicken breasts a lot lately. I just have not liked the texture of them. I just had 2 pouches, this right here. I had 2 pouches of this chicken flavored gravy mix, and I just mixed it with the 2 cups of water, and I poured it over this. I have this set at low. This is going to go for, for 5, 6. This is going to go for at least probably 2.5 hours or so, maybe a little bit longer than that. And I'm hoping that what'll happen is on low, it'll be hot enough where that will come to a boil a little bit and the gravy will thicken up. And then when we get home tonight, I will just make some mashed potatoes. And we have some leftover green beans from last night. 30 minutes. These are done. They're nice and golden, and yeah, they're done. That's all I can say about it. If you like to have like a warm kind of appley cranberry dessert, they're pretty good warm like that too. I honestly I prefer things to be cooled completely and almost kind of cold or refrigerated. I love it like that. So anyway, I'm gonna let these cool completely till tomorrow, and that is when, let me cancel off my oven though. And that is when I will cut them. And then they will cut nicely without sort of like tearing a little bit. You know, they'll cut with nice smooth lines if I let them cool 100%. I've got my potatoes peeled, and I just put them in some salt water because I don't have time to boil those up here before church, but I'll boil them when we get home. We all sat down to eat, and I completely forgot to film how everything had turned out. The chicken is really tender now, I would say. Much better than it was the first night when it was just so dry. And I ended up having a few hamburger buns that were also starting to dry out. So I just buttered those and put them under the broiler for a couple minutes. And yeah, the mashed potatoes and the leftover green beans. So I think it actually turned out really well to do it this way.
Mom, I can't do this beans anymore. No.
You can't eat the beans?
No.
No? Well, good morning. I just cut the bars. We had to take 2 dozen, so I kept these for home for tomorrow. And yeah, this is how they look. Of course, I had like a little nibble off of one of the corners here. They're so good. There's something about that wheat germ. I don't think you necessarily taste it, but it adds a lot of moisture to the bars. Today's lunch, super easy. It is just fried egg sandwiches. I love to use my center griddle on my stovetop, so I just warm the ham. Maria's making, what are you making? You forgot the name?
Mini Boston cream pies.
She's making a ganache right now. So anyway, sandwiches, fried egg sandwiches, super easy. Put some cheese on them, buttered toast with a nice drippy egg. Yum, yum, yum. tonight's supper is going to be very, very easy. It's another one out of this 4-H cookbook, and this one is called Cheesy Italian Tortellini. So let me just make sure I'm doing the right one. Yes, because the other one's called Italian spaghetti sauce, right? Cheesy Italian Tortellini. So I'm supposed to do a 1/2 pound of ground beef and a 1/2 pound of Italian sausage. I have a whole pound of sausage here, and rather than cut this in half and go thaw out ground beef, I'm just going to do all sausage. I can't see that that's going to be a problem at all. So let's get that, whoop, paper. All right, so we just need to get that browning. And then in this small crock pot, I need a 15-ounce container of marinara. Well, this is 24 ounces. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? I think I'm just going to use all of it. I'm just going to use all of it. This smells like good marinara. This is the Priano at Aldi. I also need a can of the Italian diced tomatoes, undrained, so we're going to put all those tomatoes in. Now, if you are into mushrooms, this would be when you would put in mushrooms, a cup of fresh sliced mushrooms. I suppose canned mushrooms or whatever would be fine too. I'm not going to be doing that at all. Now I just need to wait for my meat to get brown. I'm going to put this in the crock pot, set it on low. It's going to be plenty hot within 4 to 5 hours. And then I'm going to put in the tortellini and then let that cook. And once that's fully cooked, I will sprinkle it with some cheese and we will serve this up. All right, next up I'm going to use my bread machine today. I always just do the dough cycle for my bread machine, and then I turn the bread out, shape it, let it rise, and then bake it in my oven. I just like the consistency and the presentation a lot better than baking it directly in the bread machine. So I'm using, this is just the recipe that came with my bread machine. I don't even think it came with this one. No, this is what the book that came with my very, very first bread machine. I think the one that I got as a wedding gift. And it is the recipe for Italian bread. So 9 ounces of just barely warm water. 1 1/4 teaspoon. So that's just kind of like heaping of salt. 1 1/2 teaspoons of vegetable oil. So 1 and a little extra squeeze. That's actually olive oil, did I say that? 3 cups of bread flour, a teaspoon of sugar, and 2 teaspoons of yeast. How'd it go picking them up?
Good.
How was the breakfast, Peter?
Good.
Did it get really busy?
Yeah, like after the 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Then
it got crazy busy.
Tripled about amount of people.
Uh-huh. Yeah, sure. I'm in a box out in the porch. Don't take any tags off. Cheese. It is cheese tortellini, just regular cheese tortellini. So here's the recipe. It's kind of like lasagna, honey.
It's just kind of made just to it's like lasagna, honey.
It's got cheese. Yep, we'll put this on it for sure. And there's cheese in the tortellini. This is what it's looking like. Emily and her whole family are here, so hopefully this is enough to feed all of us. I don't see why it won't be. Oh my gosh, stop with the what the
Keep
sigma.
it in, keep it in.
Keep it in, keep it in. The what the sigma.
Can I have one of those balls?
Yes, you can have a bar. And then I kept home a few of the bars from the pancake breakfast. We also have salad, cottage cheese, and dressings to go with our supper tonight. There's a lot going on in the background. We have American Idol on because we just realized that we missed the first 15 minutes. We're eating supper finally. The bread just got done. It doesn't look fabulous. I don't think anyone's going to care. It's not the best time to cut it when it's this hot straight out of the oven, but we're eating and we want the bread, so we're gonna cut it like this tonight. And it's probably all gonna get eaten up with a little bit of butter. It's gonna be delicious. So this is the, this is the Italian bread. It doesn't normally look like this though. I was kind of in a rush today. What kind of updates do I need to give you on the food? Those little mini Boston cream pies that Maria made, guess what? They are gone. Yesterday, Emily and her family came over, and between them and us and whatever, I mean, they just make a little tiny bite size. You pop the whole thing in, and it's very easy to eat 3 of them right in a row, basically. I'll try to remember to put that recipe in the description box below for you guys. What else did we do? Oh, that tortellini yesterday, that was really, really good. All of it went, there was just a little scraping of some sauce that I ended up just putting in for the chickens because it was like 2 tablespoons left. But that was really, really good. Definitely, I would make that again. And with the ingredients that I used, I didn't follow the recipe in the sense of the ounces of containers that it called for, and I'm glad because I feel like if there was 15 ounces of the marinara instead of the 24-ounce jar or whatever that I used, there would not have been enough at all. It would have been like almost too thick, too pasty, and not have had enough like drippiness to it. Anyway, tonight for supper, I am doing something called Sloppy Joe under a bun. And as Peter said, he's like, don't we always put them under a bun? I'm like, well, this is made with kind of like a Bisquick type mix and stuff. So years ago, I ate something that I would think would be this recipe. I always forgot to ask the lady for the recipe. I really enjoyed it when we were at her house. It's one of our second cousins or great cousins or something like that. And it was very, very good. And when I ran across it in this 4-H cookbook, I was like, hey, that sounds just like that recipe that I had all those years ago. So I'm making it. It does not call for an onion, but I'm adding an onion because I want an onion. The meat is done. I only need 1.5 pounds, and this was a 2-pound package. So just kind of visualizing a line down the center, and then this way. I'm going to scoop this quarter out into one of my little freezer containers here, and I will save this for something else. I don't know what it's going to be, but something else. I met a subscriber today, and actually her 6 boys, I think it was 6, or were there 7? No, I'm pretty sure there were 6. I was coming out of Aldi, and I just happened to offer somebody my cart. I'm like, hey, do you want a cart? I saw this mom with all these boys. I was like, of course she's going to need a cart, because she's not going in for one thing, that's for sure. And she's like, sure, but I want to talk to you. And then find out she's from Indiana. I believe she said like close, maybe north of Indianapolis. And she is here visiting relatives. And so Brienne, hello. So happy to meet you and to see your very handsome group of boys. So I always love it when you guys stop and say hello to me, because it just really makes me like feel like what I'm doing here is actually for real people. I mean, I know it is because I read the comments and I know those are real people. But when I can actually put a face to those watching my videos too, it's just extra special. So thank you so much, and thanks for stopping by, Brienne. I'm so happy to have seen you today. She might not be watching. She said that she actually prefers homeschooling videos and farming videos to the cooking videos. That's also helpful for me to hear too, because I do sometimes tend to shy away a little bit from homeschooling, just because like it's sometimes just part of our day, and you see that, but I don't always like deep dive into homeschooling because it doesn't seem to be like a favorite. But when I know that you're out there, be watching, I'm going to do some deep diving into homeschooling again. I just got my pan sprayed. I'm going to get the, oh no, I have to put in the manwich. Okay, I'm getting sidetracked here. 1.5 pounds of hamburger. I added an onion, 1 15-ounce can of Sloppy Joe sauce, and I just shredded my cheese here too. Tell me in the comments, are you a Manwich family or a homemade Sloppy Joe barbecue type of family? For special events growing up, it was always what we called homemade barbecue. A quick evening supper, my mom would buy Manwich, and always the brand, always Manwich brand. So I haven't had this in a long time though. I did not drain my meat. If you were using ground beef, you'd probably want to drain it. This is ground venison, and there isn't anything to drain. And now we have 2 cups of shredded cheddar cheese. I'm gonna put all of that over top. I should get my oven preheating to 400 degrees. It calls for Bisquick, but I'm going to use this Pioneer baking mix. I'm pretty sure it's similar to Bisquick. I hope so, because it needs 2 cups of Bisquick mix with 2 eggs and 1 cup of milk. Until well blended, and pour over cheese. Bake for 25 minutes at 400 degrees. I am making a lot of dishes with this meal, boy. All right, there it is. I'm gonna get this in the oven, and I'll be back when it's done. Sloppy Joe under a bun. I'm not sure if anybody caught this when I was mixing it up, but I actually was only supposed to have 1 cup of milk, and I ended up doing 2 cups of milk. So it seems like it still turned out just fine. It's still baked up nicely. Make sure you scoop from the bottom here, honey. Watch, watch. Like this. And then scoop like that, so you get all the meat. Otherwise, if you don't get the meat, you know. Yep. Looks good. Good morning, everybody. No coffee in me yet, so that's why my voice is a little, well, it's a little rough. Anyway, we have a full day ahead of us. We have another morning of helping Warren with pipe, and we're going to be doing that from about 8 until 10:30. We also have our homeschool co-op, and I need to get planned for my class. I always just plan on the morning of. And when we get home from that, we usually don't have a whole lot of time to be thinking about thawing and getting something ready for supper. So that's why I'm up here this morning just working on getting this corn chowder. This is another one of the recipes, well, this whole video, the recipes are from the 4-H cookbook, and just getting all the ingredients chopped here so I can get this put together and then bring it back out to reheat it at supper time tonight. I simmered the soup with the potatoes and the not carrots, the corn, until the potatoes were nice and soft. And now I'm just adding in 2 cups of milk. I'm doubling this recipe so that we have enough for our whole family for a couple of days. It called for either cream or milk, and I chose milk. It calls for 2 teaspoons of salt, actually 2 1/8. That just seems like a lot, especially for having that bacon in there. So I'm gonna go 2, which, you know, if I'm doubling, it should be 4. But we're just gonna go with 2. And then pepper, just a dash of pepper. See, I would go lots more pepper than that. Come on, open up. Oh, I'm opening it from the wrong side, Maria. No, I'm not.
Yeah, right there.
Oh, I took the whole top off. What's going on?
Try it. Here.
You try. Yeah, okay, thank you. So a couple of dashes of pepper. We're going to go with actually quite a few dashes of pepper.
Yeah, that's like teaspoon.
And that is corn chowder. Right before, or when I serve it tonight, I will be adding a little parsley. It says or paprika. I feel like parsley and paprika would be a good addition to the soup. So this is what the soup looks like here. I'm very glad that I only did 2 teaspoons of salt. It seemed to be just enough. And then it's recommended to sprinkle on either paprika or some parsley on top. Well, hi there. It was another morning of pipe for me, and I never really did anything to continue getting myself ready for the day. Anyway, and you know, hat head and hood head and all of that. It doesn't matter. You guys don't mind. Why do I even feel like I need to explain it? But anyway, here we go. I'm in the kitchen. I am making, what am I making? Baked pork chops. So this is a recipe, again, out of my 4-H cookbook that I've been using. I need 6 pork chops, 1 medium onion, a can of cream of chicken soup, some ketchup, Worcestershire sauce, and salt and pepper. So I'm just trimming off the, I think I actually might have 7 pork chops here, but I'm trimming the fat off of my pork chops before putting them in the pan to brown. I'm actually going to use a little bit of bacon grease in my pan. Went looking for Dad. There is some Harry Potter. You're looking for what? This here is a mixture of 1 can cream of chicken soup, 3 tablespoons of ketchup, and 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce. I salt and peppered my browned pork chops, laid a medium onion sliced over it, and now I'm going to spread over the gravy mix. My oven just preheated to 350 degrees. These are going to have to go in the oven for upwards of an hour, 45 minutes to an hour. Last time I made pork chops, I did them on the stovetop. I made a basil tarragon cream sauce. I didn't think it was that phenomenal, and I thought the pork chops they weren't overcooked, but they were just dry, very dry. I wasn't a super fan of that. Warren liked that cream sauce. I honestly didn't really like it, and I thought I was going to like it, and he probably wasn't, but he liked it and I didn't. Well, this is another attempt at another new recipe. Of course, I could just make the crock pot recipe that's in my cookbook, and we like those very well, but I'm always looking for something a little bit different, and this was different. This one seemed different. With that cream of chicken soup and the Worcestershire sauce and ketchup, that was just a little different combination. 350 for upwards of 1 hour. That actually did not take me very long at all to get set up and get put into the oven. I thought it was going to take me a little bit longer. A lot of times when I brown meat, it seems like it just, I don't know, it just doesn't want to brown. But I did a sponsored post for this brand, a year ago or so, MSMK. And honestly, most of the pans, just because I didn't need any more pans, most of them I gave to my kids, some different ones. I gave a couple to Amber. She was like, oh yeah, I would like that one and that one. And I can't remember if I gave some to Nick and Emily, but anyway, most of them I have given away, but I did keep this one large, and they are non-stick, but they have a special coating that's non-toxic. It's not Teflon, and all the all the cancer-causing agents. I can't remember exactly. I know it's like a diamond. I don't remember exactly. I'll link to it in case you're interested. But my point being with all of this is that the pork chops browned very quickly. I usually use my cast iron, and maybe it's just because the cast iron takes so much longer to heat up. But yeah, they browned really, really nicely in this nonstick pan. So a win for that pan. I don't use it very often, but every once in a while I pull it out. I'm like, I'm going to use that, and I'm so glad I did today. I scrubbed up some potatoes, and I put 1 cup of water, or just enough to kind of give you about a ½ an inch or so on the bottom of your Instant Pot or electric pressure cooker. I'm going to get mine locked into position, get that set to sealing, and then if I'm not mistaken, I usually go high pressure cook. I think I do 16 minutes. Baked pork chops, they were in the oven 50 minutes, and yeah, they were very, very well done. It appears that the kids are not into the gravy, which I actually was really quite looking forward to this gravy. I think we'll kind of spoon it over the pork chops a little bit here, just to make sure that they have enough juiciness. Oh yeah, we didn't put spoons out. What about a baked potato? No. Joe, do you want a baked potato? Oh, he took one already. There's nothing over there, Joe. There's cream corn and there's applesauce. Tonight's 4-H cookbook recipe is called beef nacho casserole, and so I have a pound of ground venison going in my Dutch oven over here. I should turn that down just a little bit, and then here is kind of like the filling or whatever, this is the juiciness that's going to go in with the ground beef. I have 12 ounces of salsa, and it is the mild chunky salsa. I am completely out of my home canned salsa. Gardening season cannot come soon enough. And then 3/4 cup of Miracle Whip. It specifically calls for Miracle Whip and not mayo, which is fine. I love Miracle Whip. I mean, I'm a Wisconsin girl, and we love our Miracle Whip. And then a tablespoon of chili powder and 1 cup of frozen corn. So let's get that all mixed up. This is going to go in with the ground beef, and then I'm going to just layer it up. Ground beef, tortilla chips, cheese. Ground beef, tortilla chips, cheese. It's going to go in the oven for 20 minutes at 350 degrees. It called for shredded cheese. Honestly, I was just too lazy to get out my shredder, and so I just cut the cheese into little pieces and threw it over top of the chips. This is going to go in at 350 degrees for 20 minutes. I think I've made something like this before.
I think so too.
Tortilla beef bake, I think is what it was called. This one is called beef nacho casserole.
I think it looks good.
I think it looks good. It smells good. I'm going to put sour cream on mine for sure. Tonight's supper was off of the meal plan. I just went rogue tonight because Warren had a meeting. Anyway, we just did super simple macaroni and cheese. I warmed up some ham slices and we had grapes and we called it good. So, but for tomorrow, I really want to do this Chicago style Italian beef. It's actually Italian venison. And so what I have going is, this is about a 3.5 pound venison roast. And then I have 2 envelopes of this beefy onion soup mix. I'm going to cover the roast with water. We're going to bring this to a boil and then turn it down and simmer it for 3 hours. But when it's time to simmer it, I need to add a few more ingredients. Alright, I thought my camera was on, but it wasn't. I put these ingredients, so that was garlic salt, soy sauce, a bay leaf, and celery. Just one stalk of celery. I put that in here. I just turned it down to low because it was at a nice hard boil. Now it's going to boil, or sorry, simmer away for 3 hours. And the reason that I can do that here, you know, it's 10 to 7 right now, is because this then has to sit in the refrigerator overnight. It has to cool completely. It said that it's going to slice the best. And I actually have a meat slicer that I haven't brought up in a number of years. I used to cook down like a roast and slice my meat more often. I just haven't done that in a long time. So anyway, I wanted to do this recipe and give it a try, see how it goes. So tomorrow I will slice the meat very, very thin, and we could use it, hopefully we could use it as lunch meat cold, but the recipe actually suggests layering it in a baking dish, pouring the juice over top of it, adding green peppers sliced to the top, a little bit more garlic salt, basically taste it, see what it needs, more salt, pepper, garlic, or even soy sauce it says, and heat it at 325 degrees for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then you have hot Chicago style roast beef, but in my case, roast venison. My venison roast, this Chicago style Italian venison that I'm making, it is completely cooled, and I brought up a contraption that I definitely had to pull my hair back for. No loose clothing, no loose hair when using a meat slicer. So I just got this set up. I set my blade to very, very, very thin. And I just wanted to show you how little fat there is when you're cooking venison. I mean, we've all found that fat is supposed to be better for us and good, and it keeps us satiated and all those things. But just wanted to point out that, yeah, if you ever are kind of like, gosh, the venison's a little bit dry, venison has a tendency to be drier because there is no fat. I mean, if this was a beef roast that I had cooked down and then let cook or let cool, there would be a good layer of fat. So there's nothing I'm going to skim off of this. Anyway, let's get this onto the slicer. I haven't used this in a long time. Okay, the key is to getting this on here the right direction so that you slice it across the grain. All right, so we're going to put it this direction. And that muscle actually goes that way. Safety switch. Okay, so what we found out is that the venison almost loses its structure a little too much. So I do have a few pieces that are like this, but I also have a lot that is like this, just kind of like a shredded, shaved venison.
Like pulled venison.
Yeah, kind of like a pulled venison, kind of, but not a ton of flavor right now. But the recipe does call for adding some sauce or the broth, adding that to this, putting a little bit more garlic salt and I think it was soy sauce over it.
It's kind of weird how it flips like that. I'm not totally sure what that's all about.
Whoops. Right away.
Yeah. Maybe try pushing a little bit harder on that one. Or what if, here, what about this? What if you,
yeah.
What if you cut this chunk so it's more flat, not this knobby spot?
Yeah, I feel like that must be the problem, huh?
Because if you always look at like Subway, they always have like a nice brisket, like chunk, like flat one.
System going now. All right, we just need some meat for lunch, and I am really dirtying just about every dish I have. So what I'm doing here is just putting some into this casserole dish, and because it's venison, I am going to add 2 dollops of butter. And it calls for more garlic salt. So this is a garlic, salt, and pepper mixture. I picked this up at Aldi. Yes, Aldi. A while back. It also says to top it with some more soy sauce and sliced green peppers. I want to have this for lunch. Oh, we can't forget, we got bread in here.
Oh. We have to forget there's bread in there.
I just got the oven preheating to 325. And I'm going to put a little bit of soy sauce. That's what it says to do. And to pour over some meat juice. And to cover it. And it only says it needs to go for 15 to 20 minutes in the oven at 325. The remaining meat that we're not going to eat for lunch, I just put into these freezer containers here. And I spent way too much time searching for the actual correct lid. These are ready-tainers. I ordered a pack of 25 a long time ago from Amazon. I use and use and use and use these, and apparently I must have given some away, or maybe some have gotten thrown away. I don't know, but I am out, and I am going to have to go and make another order for these. They're so helpful to have. All right, I'm going to label this up. Just put the date, April 2025. The juice is actually very flavorful, and I think what would be super good is to thaw these and then just thicken it up with a little cornstarch, and that would make like one of those sort of like clear brown gravies. So a little bit of cornstarch, and we could serve this with, well, we could serve it with mashed potatoes. That of course would be good. Or I'm thinking some like buttered parsley garlic potatoes, red potatoes. That would be delicious too. But I'm going to get these popped in the freezer and grab some buns so that we can, and slice some cheese for putting together our sandwiches today. So I had just a variety of some sourdough slices of bread along with some hot dog buns. I just toasted those with some Monterey Jack cheese on it, and this is how we're serving up this Chicago style Italian roast venison, or whatever it's called. That's how we're serving it up here for lunch. And I'm going to take,
I want that gold red.
I think it tastes very, very good. We'll see after we eat the whole thing though. We've come to the point in the video where I have made 7 of the 9 recipes that I had chosen out of the 4-H cookbook. Warren is here with me, Peter's here with me, and we are going to, I guess, just kind of rate these as to what was our favorite, what was our least favorite. You guys seem to like that in one of the other videos that we did, so go for it, Warren.
I'm trying to remember the crispy herb baked chicken. Was that
Yeah, I'm trying to
boneless
remember that too.
I didn't.
chicken breast?
Yeah, I didn't like that one. Warren and I are going to attempt here to rank these meals again. We started this over a week ago, and then life just got in the way immediately when we started trying to film this, so we're going to give it a try again. I'm going to... Do you want to rank them, or do you even remember? It was so long ago.
No, I remember.
Oh, okay, great.
I really like the Chicago style Italian venison. That was my number 1, I think. The baked pork chops were good, and the key to that is that they're cooked all the way.
I thought they were overcooked.
Well, I thought they were good. I mean, they could have been more tender, but I don't think that was the cooking. It was just, I think it was just the...
Just the pork?
The pork. Mm-hmm. The beefy nacho casserole was very good. I did like the corn chowder.
I was going to say, I am surprised you're putting that fourth.
Well,
that seemed like your
it's a tough
favorite.
one. I could probably go that way. I really liked the broth.
Yeah.
But I like broth.
Yeah.
The baked chicken was, I'm going to go Sloppy Joe next, I think. And then I'm going to do the baked chicken last. That's how I'm going to arrange it.
That's your...
The chicken, I don't know. It was...
I know.
Just...
It was way too dry.
Yeah, it was dry. Italian tortellini was good, but...
That's not your style of meal.
Not my style. So this is my...
That's your order.
My order.
Let me put them in order. I am going to keep crispy herb chicken last. I am going to put this one way up here. This is going to have to come down here, and that's me.
Yeah,
that's how I'm going to go.
Okay.
I liked this the next day. Do you remember when I put it in the crock pot and I made a chicken gravy, and then I let it cook longer, so it got like soft.
It was better.
We did it over
day.
mashed potatoes. Yes. Baked pork chops. Yeah, I thought they were dry. Sloppy Joe under a bun was good. I like that style of meal. The beefy nacho casserole, I really liked it fresh. I didn't care for it warmed up the next day so much.
It didn't age well.
No, I didn't think so either. The cheesy Italian tortellini all went in the first meal, and I wish there was a little left over because I really, really like that a lot. Corn chowder, delicious, simple, like just a comfort, easy soup.
And I didn't think I was going to like corn chowder until,
right.
you know, when you said, oh, we're having corn chowder, I'm like, okay. But I really, really liked it.
And then this one was really good. I guess the way I served it on like the toasted buns with the cheese, that made it really, really good. All right, Peter's here. He wants to give it a whirl and let you guys know what he thinks. You really liked this one. You like that one as leftovers a lot. You and Joe both really like that. And that's your order. Okay.
So the cheesy Italian tortellini, I just like that because that's just like, you can't go wrong with just noodles and sauce.
Right, you like that kind of meal. You like lasagna, you like spaghetti, you like that kind of thing, yeah?
And then the Chicago style Italian venison, it kind of reminded me of like a Philly cheesesteak.
Yep.
And the sloppy Joe into the bun, I would have put it higher, but the sloppy Joe part, it had this weird like tangy taste.
Because I used Manwich, and you weren't a huge fan of that. So if I like made homemade sloppy Joe and then did it under there.
And then the beefy nacho casserole, yeah, same as you. It's good, fresh, but not leftover. The corn chowder, it was okay. I just didn't really care for it. This crispier baked chicken, it was okay. It was kind of dry, but the baked pork chops were not that good.
That's funny because both you and I put these down low, and Dad put the baked pork chops, I think. Where did you put them, Warren? Like back up at number 3 or something? All right, well, thank you guys so much for sticking with me through this whole entire long video. In real time here, this video is going to be uploaded probably tonight or tomorrow, which it is April 28th. But these meals were made like 2 weeks ago or something like that. It has just been, there's just been a lot going on. We had a confirmation, we had turkey hunting, both like our family season, and we had a couple of out-of-town guests come, and we had, what else did we have? I don't even know. We had some wedding stuff. Amber came and was working on wedding stuff, and just has been a lot going on. Oh yeah, Frost Watch has started back up, although I guess it does pertain to me too, but not like it does to you. So anyway, again, hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did and you stuck all the way through, would you mind giving me a thumbs up? Because it really does help my channel a lot when you guys show engagement to it. You guys have a great night, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.